Hello widget watchers, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to learn about intents in Android. So intents are basically glue that connects your screens and actions inside an app. Without intents, your app would feel like a dead robot with no ability to move or communicate. So now let's break down the intents. Think like this way, your app is like a house with different rooms, right? One room is the login screen, one is the profile screen, and another room is settings. Now, when you move from one room to another, you need a door. In Android, that door is called an intent. So let's start with the first type, that is explicit intent. So an explicit intent is when you clearly specify which activity you want to open. It's like saying, hey Android, open this exact screen. Imagine you are in your login activity and you want to open dashboard activity. So for doing that, open Android Studio, and here I'm just using the previous example which we have in our last video. So basically here we have this button, this text field, and this text view. So we are not going to use this text view and edit text. We are just going to use this button. Okay. So for doing that, now let's come to the parent folder of this main activity, and here create a new activity and make it as empty view activity. Okay. And let's name it as login activity, then finish the setup. And now you can see in the layout folder we have this login activity. Okay, and let's add the text here. Basically what we can do, we are just going to copy paste this thing. So copy this text view from here and add the same text view here. It's perfectly fine. Okay, now come to our main activity.kt file. So here we already have added the binding, so we can make use of this. So what we can do here, we can simply mention binding, then this simple button, then we can set the onClick listener method on this button. So here add that. Now so here we are going to navigate to this login activity from this main activity. Okay, so here what we can do, here we can make use of intent. So now your question is how we can make use of that thing. So here there is two way by which you can do this. So one way is that you can create a variable as, let's name it as intent. Okay, and then here add the intent class. Then afterward here you need to add the context first. So this means like from where we are going to which activity. So we are going from main activity to login activity. So here this refer to current activity, that is main activity. Okay, then our target class. So our target class is login activity. So add that. Now that's it. Now afterwards here we need to start this activity. Okay, so here we can simply mention start activity and then our intent. So this is the one way. If you don't like to create this variable thing, then what you can do, you can remove all these things from here and you can simply add your intent inside this start activity. So both the things here are correct, they both will work without any issue. Okay, so now let's save the code and run this application so that we can check if it is working properly or not. Okay, so build is successful and the installation part is also done. So now let's tap onto this button and here you can see we are simply navigated to this second activity. Okay, so this is how our explicit intents are working. So that's it. This is called an explicit intent because you are explicitly telling Android which activity to open. So apart from this, for a real example, suppose you have a button that says go to profile. So when you tap onto this button, then you want to open the profile screen, right? So the same way, let's suppose instead of login activity, you have profile screen. Then you can simply make user navigate to profile screen when they are pressing to profile button. Okay, so that is super simple. Now there is one more very useful thing you can do with explicit intent. Like you can send data from one activity to another activity. Basically what I'm trying to say, let's say you are onto this screen and your user types something here. Let's say they type this value here and you want to send this name to your this second activity, right? So you can also do that inside your intent thing. So for doing that, what you can do, you can add the extra parameter inside your intent. So let me show you how you can do that. So basically now this time we are going to make use of variable because this will make our code a bit simpler. Okay, so here we have the same thing. Now afterwards, here inside this intent, we need to call this put extra method in which we are going to transfer the data. So let's say we want to transfer the username. So here we added username and then the value of your username. So the value is added in the binding, then this name edit text, and then from it extract the text and then convert it to string. So that's it. So here whatever data user adds into this text field, that will be added into this intent. Now we need to extract that data into our this login activity, right? So for doing that, come here. So here first we need to create a variable to store that username. Okay, so here create a variable called the username, and then we will make use of this intent instance. Okay, then from here we will get string extra. So basically here whatever type of data we are calling, like we are sending, like here we added if put extra, then here we need to add get string extra. Okay, now let's say here you are passing something like int type, then here you need to add get int extra. Okay, like this way, get int extra. Okay, but our data is in string, so we are going to add this get string extra method, and then here we need to add this same key which we have added here. So let's copy this key and add it here. Okay, now what we are going to do, like we will bind this data to this simple text view. Okay, so here we will simply say binding. Okay, so binding is not added there. Okay, let's leave that and simply use find view by id thing, find view by id, and this is going to be a text view. Okay, then here we need to mention the id. So here what was the id? Simple text view. Then here we need to set this text or this string into the simple text view. Okay, so here we are going to simply say dot text and then our value. So what this will do, it will change the text value of the simple text view and replace this value with this username. Okay, so that's it. Now let's save the code and run the application to check if it is working fine or not. Okay, so the installation was successful. Now let's add a name. Let's say we will simply say widget wisdom, and when we tap onto this button, then you can see our text is successfully transferred from one screen to another screen. So that's how explicit intents are working in Android. Now let's come to the second type of intent, that is the implicit intent. So an implicit intent is when you don't tell Android which exact activity or app you want to open. Instead of this, you tell Android what you want to do and Android chooses the right app to handle it. Think of it like saying I want to send a message and Android asks, okay, should I open WhatsApp, Gmail or Messages app? Let's look at the simple example. Suppose we want to open the dialer app so the user can call a phone number, right? So we are not building the dialer screen ourselves. We just want to launch the phone app. So let's see how we can do that. So let me remove this code from here. And here what we can do, here we can simply create a phone intent. Let's phone intent. Okay, now here we will create the instance. So here we are going to make use of intent, and then inside it, then here we will use intent dot action dial. Then here we will use intent dot, and we want to open the dialer app, so we will use action dial. This is our part. So this is the one thing. Now afterwards, here we need to add the data, like which phone number I want to call, right? So here I'll add the data, then I'll parse this information. Okay, let me import this URI thing. It's done. Now here we need to pass this data. So whenever we are dialing a number, this is mandatory to add this tell thing. Okay, now afterwards, let me add any number. Okay, so this is done. So now afterwards, what we need to do, as we did in the explicit intent, here we need to start this activity. Okay, so here I have mentioned the start activity, and then I need to pass this intent to the start activity, and it's done. Okay, now let me check if this will work on emulator or not. So I just saved the code and run the application. Okay, so the application is installed. Now let's tap onto this button, and our dialer is open with this exact phone number which we have added in our code. So this is the example of an implicit intent. We didn't say open this exact activity, we only said we want to dial a number. Now apart from this, you can use the photos example, or let's say you can open a browser. Let's say user have the Opera browser, Chrome browser, or Arc browser. So when we will use the action view, which is used to open a website, then user have a choice that which app he wants to open. Okay, so now I think you can understand the difference. Explicit intents are like giving someone a full address, and implicit intents are like giving someone the purpose and letting them choose the destination. Now let's quickly summarize in simple words. Use an explicit intent when you want to switch screen inside your app. Use an implicit intent when you want to open something outside your app or trigger a system action. And here is one more important thing developer often miss. If you use implicit intents, always check if the device has an app that can handle it. Otherwise your app crash. Like for example, what you can do here, before starting this activity, you can check that if pawn intent is there or not. So what we need to do, we need to add this resolve activity thing, and then here we need to add the package manager, which is the dialer package manager, and this should not be equals to null. If this is true case, if this will be true, then what we can do, we can start our activity. Basically what it does, this ensure that your intent finds a suitable app before launching it. If that app is not available, then maybe our app will get crashed. So that's everything you need to understand about intents, the doors that let your app move, communicate, and interact with the whole Android system. So if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe to Widget Wisdom, and comment Intent Master so I know you are learning like a pro.